Okay, hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at the defender options for the new season. Now, I did do a budget and premium goalkeeper, two separate videos on the keeper section, but I think for the defenders, the common trend at the moment is to go with premium defenders with 3, 4, 5 at the back. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 5 premium defenders, or just defenders in general, I think you should definitely have in your teams. And then I'll also do 5 that I think you should definitely consider outside of the main highly owned players who could deliver good points for the season. Okay, so we start with this graphic with Robertson, Trent, Van Dijk, Laporte and Lucas Digne. I'm just going to break down each player to their stats and, you know, their viability into FPL squads. So starting with Robertson, who was the highest point scorer for defenders last year. Got 213 points, 12 assists, 21 clean sheets, and I mean, for an FPL asset, I had him throughout my team throughout the season, and he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He got very far forward. Both him and Trent on the flanks of Liverpool got very far forward. So I think if you can stretch the 0.5 from Van Dijk, say, to Robertson for 7 million, he's a good option, 100%, and definitely one to consider. Next up, Van Dijk, who's second highest, got 208 points, 4 goals, 4 assists, which is quite interesting for a defender, but majority of them are just sort of flicks, so I don't really class it as very good assists, and 20 clean sheets. So Van Dijk, an ever-present in that defence. I think if you're looking for one of the Liverpool defenders to bank on, it would be him. He will probably start every single game of the season because he's just so crucial to that Liverpool defence. He's completely changed the setup of it. So I think he's definitely one to consider. And he's 0.5 cheaper than both Robertson and Trent. So that's worth bearing in mind if you can't get the funds to be able to afford Robertson or Trent. The next up, we've got Trent at 185 points, 1 goal, 13 assists, 16 clean sheets. And I think had he not had all the injuries that kept him out of a couple of games, he definitely could have overtaken Robertson to become the most points for a defender, 100%. So those 3 Liverpool defenders, people say you go with 2 of them. I'm going to go 1, just because in the event they don't keep a clean sheet, which is unlikely because they are quite good at it, then you can save points, and that's the big thing. Then we have 2 options outside Liverpool, so we're finally getting outside Liverpool. We have Aymeric Laporte, who ever present in City's defence, the only left-footed centre-back who could play at left-back as well. So Pep loved to use him. 177 points, 3 goals, 3 assists and 18 clean sheets, and he was an absolute monster in the double game weeks, returning double points, like 20 points in the double game week. So I missed out on that. I was very upset, but he's a brilliant player. And I think if the City defence, Pep loves a bit of rotation, and many managers hated that. But he could definitely become an ever-present. I think the only other one I could see as a definite is Kyle Walker, but even then Danilo is the one that's threatening his spot. And Laporte is 6.5 million. I think it's quite a good price, not too expensive, and one to consider. Lucas Digne, so with Lucas Digne with 158 points, 4 goals, 5 assists, 13 clean sheets. Everton started to rack up the clean sheets towards the end of the season, and I think with his set piece potential, he could definitely deliver more points this season. I mean, he had quite a slow start, but once he got into it, he was just unbeatable. And if he can knock Sigurdsson off penalties, he would be probably the all-round defender for your teams. So those 5, I think, are players you have to consider. Currently in my setup, I've got Van Dijk and Lucas Digne. Can't stretch Robertson or Trent or Laporte, but if you can, I would advise it. So then we come to the 5 other defenders that I've looked at, and I think they could be interesting options. So we're going to start with Seamus Coleman, who's currently in my team. 125 points, 2 goals, 2 assists, 30 clean sheets. Obviously low in the goals and assists, but he obviously had a limited season compared to Lucas Digne, and I think that's why people were looking at Lucas Digne more, because of the last season. And I think Seamus Coleman presents a marauding right back. I think Richarlison on the right flank and Coleman could work really well together as a pair. And if he can rack up the goals and assists, I think the 0.5 million you save compared to Luca Dean could be very big for FPL sides. Next, with Ben Chilwell. Now, I was comparing him and Ricardo Pereira because obviously Pereira did get more goal involvements. He got 10 goal involvements in total, 8 of them being assists. And Chilwell only got 5 assists. But when Brendan Rodgers came in, that was when Chilwell vastly increased his output, whereas Ricardo Pereira, he actually just didn't build on the output. That was majority of it was under Claude Puel, who often used him as a right mid. So yeah, Chilwell with 5 assists and 10 clean sheets, I think he's definitely one to look at. I think Rodgers' attacking style of football, you might see less clean sheets, but if Chilwell can return assists and goals, especially I think because he's on sometimes on corners. I think if Maddison's not one for in-swing corners, then he could be a definite option. Matt Ritchie, I've purely put him in here just for the penalty potential. Obviously, he's now a defender in the games he played majority of last season at left wing back, and he did get 10 clean sheets, 2 goals, 8 assists. One minor thing though is the yellow cards. He did pick up 9 yellow cards, so a bit like a Holder-Bass. You want to watch the points there because obviously you're going to lose -1 per yellow card. But I think with Rafa Benitez now going, I see Newcastle's potential for clean sheets vastly dropping. They haven't not got nice fixtures as well, so he's purely in there for the penalties. If you think 5.5 million is a nice price, if you think for the penalties, but personally I think I'm going to avoid him. But he's one to consider just purely because of the penalties. Danny Rose. Now I'm a Tottenham guy, so maybe I'm being a little bit biased, but I think with he got 86 points last season, 4 assists, 8 clean sheets. Obviously, he had injury for about half the season, but when he came in, he looked like a different player, a new player. And I think if he can hold down the left back starting spots, I think Ben Davies is slightly out of favour. Danny Rose could definitely, particularly at the start of the season before Champions League kicks in, could definitely get points and be a huge differential. He's currently in my side at the moment, but it just depends on pre-season, and if we see an inclination that Pochettino wants to use Danny Rose in solely as his left back, then it might be worth looking into. And then my completely out there pick, Ender Stevens for Sheffield United, 5 million, so the most expensive of the Sheffield United defenders. But last season for Sheffield, he got 4 goals, 7 assists, 21 clean sheets. Remember that the Dean Henderson, the keeper, he's actually not been signed yet permanently for Sheffield, so he was where the bulk of the clean sheets came from. So it's worth monitoring that. But Stevens created 39 chances, and I think if he can continue that, he could be like a Matt Doherty. He actually had better stats than Matt Doherty coming into the Premier League season, so he's one to consider. He could be a very cheap option. Sheffield United's got a mixed bunch of fixtures to start, but he could definitely be one. So that wraps up today's video on the defenders. Let me know what in the comments what you're thinking, obviously, because the 5 at the back I think is a bit risky, particularly if you're going 5-4-1 and your striker doesn't play. But I think if you go 4-3 at the back, I think it's definitely a good option. So let me know what you're thinking. Please subscribe, support me. I'm trying to grow the channel as fast as possible and do many more podcasts with FPL discussion on the way. So yeah, stay tuned. Twitter, Captain FPL1. We're posting lots of threads on there about the teams and anything that I think could be useful. So yeah, catch you later.